So, today's amend is titled Impure Energy. And I think some context needs to be made and reiterated about of how my view of the world was, in the sense that things were hierarchical. I'm not saying they're not, and maybe some people say, of course they work this way. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm saying is some people give a shit about it and some people don't. And nowadays, I couldn't care fucking less about any of this shit. Maybe I do. I don't know. I do in a different way, I guess. Or maybe I care about it in the same way, but I'm less afflicted by it. But back then, I was entrenched by it, and it didn't matter how underground anything was. There was always an underground to an underground, and that's the pursuit. And it's not even an intentional pursuit. I think it was subconscious for me on my part, where it needed to be recognized that I was not the mainstream, so intentionally going underground, but then you're surrounded by everybody else, in which case it becomes normalized and therefore mainstream within that particular circle, in which case you want to go find another underground. And it's seemingly, the point is, it's not that I just kept going into further deeper into some kind of a abstractness. It's the idea that there's always some kind of endless search based upon a dissatisfaction once I got normalized within a particular group, clique, setup, work environment, social circle, whatever the hell it was. So there's that layer, and then on top of that, so I started DJing and doing the club thing, and it's not even like it's not like any city club. It's just like I never felt the confidence to put myself out there, regardless of how many compliments I'd get, because I always found a psychological way to dismiss things. But the point of it is that I'm still looking for some kind of, even just a personal validation of where I was in some kind of social context, which was always a perpetual state of dissatisfaction. So there's that. And then on top of which, I'm a judgmental fucking asshole, so I'm always rating people aesthetically. That is not to say just kind of like, oh, pretty people this, or or ugly people that. It's not that it works on that level. It's almost that the aesthetic of what's their makeup, what's their clothing, what's their thing in terms of the entire look and ensemble, and how I'm rating it more nuanced than it's like an attractive, not attractive thing to me. So I'm rating people, trying to rate myself, finding myself in a perpetual state of dissatisfaction, but not wanting to show it up, of course, in that sense. So there's all that weird insecurity thing. So there's that layer. On top of which, I'm in school. There's also a want perhaps even a retaliatory level, where I always felt belittled by the mainstream, so of course I wanted to rise up against the mainstream, but then you become the mainstream, in which case you rise up against yourself. I don't know if any of that makes sense. That should be a longer blah blah blah, but I'm just layering it in terms of the mental state. So I'm at school, and I started doing the sound engineering thing at a local at the pub on the campus, and just doing my thing, and it just got me on my head. I'm with my cigarettes, coffee, all high energy, more than whatever this is. And there was somebody was putting on a rave, and I'm like, and I was very snobby against the rave, in the sense of thinking that that's the mainstream rave, where I was going to more of underground raves instead of what raves were becoming poppy. And this is 92, and from what I understand, they're still going on. And so in my mind, I'm belittling it, but then they're taking me on for as a sound engineer. So I'm sound engineer. Like, there's nothing a sound engineer. It's just two line levels. You just throw it up there. You just make sure you don't break bust the speakers. So anyway, so then they end up wanting to do a second one, and then I brought in one of the DJs that I knew, which was more, in my perceived underground, more than the just just whatever prejudiced of the time of whatever mainstream techno was coming on up. And there's always an underground to an underground to an underground. It goes on layer infinitum, and just endlessly seeking something. It just basically just indicates how uncomfortable I was in my own place, wherever the hell that was. So to that end, I do those 2 events, and then the next year there's an opportunity to create on campus a group of to continue these parties, these events, and do these monthly events on campus. And it was called Pure Energy, and there was an open meeting and all that stuff. And here's the amend. I remember keeping the list of all the people that signed in, and I remember looking at all my memorabilia years and years and years later, like, already 10 years out of school, just finding stuff that's no longer even around anymore. But knowing that a bunch of names on there, I almost... Maybe I didn't do it, but I remember doing... I think I did this. Now, you know what? I'm going to go with it. I probably did do it. And this is what the amend is almost not encouraging some, or maybe even subtly discouraging some, through not being so responsive to their needs as opposed to other people that I wanted in the group, because in my own judgment, purely aesthetic, without even really barely knowing anybody, because I'm so blocked, where I'm thinking, like, how does anybody know anybody? You just kind of ask questions. You say, hey, I'm here, let me listen. And I wasn't that person back then. And I remember willfully just omitting things and resisting things to a certain extent. So the amend is to those people. Then I want to make an amend to the existing group that was there with me, that looked to me for leadership. And looking back, I think I did and didn't, because I was struggling to find my place, because I would always think that I didn't belong there, even though I was giving the credit to being there. And that discomfort just was, very difficult for me to overcome. So the second amendment part to that is to the group of people that were doing that, just doing even stupid things. Like, we charge $3 entry. That's just idiotic. First of all, who wants to deal with singles? We should have just done $5. I'm sure that idea was thrown out. One bill, $5. There it is. Private school, done deal. What the hell? Oh, $3. You got to be as cheap as possible. Who gives a shit? $5 would have been better for everybody. Just to stand up as a group and just say, no, this is what our product is worth. I also want to make amends to any of the fans that came out and would just come out and give me credit and say, oh, awesome this and awesome that. And here's the thing, if we winged the party, people would give credit, and I'd be like, hey, it was winged. And if there was an elaborate plan that was executed, of course there'd be flaws, and I'd be like, oh, well, what do you know? There were flaws. And it just... Or not like I wouldn't say that to the fan, I just wouldn't let it in. I wouldn't give it credit. I wouldn't reciprocate. I, of course, didn't set up the infrastructure for it to go forward past my year, because of my complete lack of openness and all that. Just very closed internally, but not like revealing it, if that makes any sense, because everything was all just about this hierarchy. It's about a perception of where one should be, rather than just letting one be where they are, and however that comes out, that comes out. And I remember having glimpses of it, but none too long, right? My amend is to the people I dismissed. My amend is to people I rejected, all in the name of this organization that a lot of people just look to and just have really amazing memories of. And I guess I do too. I just know my motives at the time were not as pure as that. And to that end, I offer my sincere amends. Thank you for listening.